And here we go. Here is the Marvel Legends X-Men Animated Series Jean Grey VHS packaging wave. Woo, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Big fan of the VHS packaging as a nostalgia head, as a nostalgia collector. This is obviously going to appeal to someone like me. I'm loving the fantastic Dan Wiedemeyer artwork that they've been putting on the boxes. This is yet another example of a nice dynamic action shot that Dan's done of Jean using her psionic powers in the danger room, it looks like there. Really lovely. Looks just like she did in the cartoon, which is very appealing to an old fan of the cartoon like me. But also liking the way the VHS box set is just setting off those kind of old, like in hand, just very tactile nostalgia there, which I think is really wonderful. Loads of nice little touches, like the little the character head in the top corner there with the Marvel Comics, which would appeal to a collector. And on the sides, you can see we've got the side-on shot as well of the face in the same format. The old classic logo there, but this is something I've mentioned before. I like how they put this Marvel Legends thing in that it looks like the production company, the VHS production company logo, and then the little tab, the little thumb tab that we used to use to pull our VHSs out the bottom there like that. Lovely little touch. Then the back, we've got the digital render of the figure, a little bit of blurb here. Possessing near limitless psychic potential, Jean Grey is Charles Xavier's first student and could someday become the greatest psychic on Earth and beyond. All the legal malarkey down the bottom, and then on the other side, we've just got the matching layout, but obviously in the opposite direction, for those who want to stack these on their shelf in a little display. So let's get this open, shall we? I'm going in from the bottom. I've already popped the tape on the bottom there, just for expediency. We're in the plastic-free packaging there, so we've got the little cardboard insert. Is there some more stuff in here? Oh, paperwork. So here we got a little bag of extra goodies. I think this will be the swappable head and hands, I think, if I remember rightly. Out you come, out you come. Yes, that's right. There's the two hands. We've got a couple of fisty-style hands there. And then we've got the more kind of late 80s, early 90s bouffant style hair. Actually, that looks really awesome, although I suspect it's going to affect her articulation in the head area. But there we go. Let's move this box out of the way. And then you just kind of pop the little tabs at the side here, unfold that, slide the figure out, like so. And then unravel from the bottom. Out you come, Jean. Come on. There we are. And there we go. There's the Jean Grey figure. That was pretty straightforward. The plastic-free packaging is definitely a very... paint tap. And there we go. There's the figure herself. She's feeling a bit stiff. All right, I'm going to go away and have a play. I'm going to get her up next to my Wolverine and my Jubilee and my Storm, see how they look and feel. And then I'll come back in a few days and share some thoughts. I've already started playing. Stop. There you go. There you go, folks. I can't help myself. I've got to start playing with my toys as soon as I open them. So I'll be back in a few days' time to share some thoughts, starting in video time in 3, 2, 1. And here we go. Here is the Marvel Legends X-Men Animated Series Jean Grey in the plastic. It's been a few days now since the pre-order arrived. I've been away and had some hands-on playtime, posed her up. I was taking some photos with Jubilee and Wolverine just the other day. And then it was my son's birthday, which delayed me recording this review even further. Not that it matters, because I think it's only here in the UK that I've seen it knocking around. In fact, the Hasbro pre-order machine here in the UK are really churning it out. They're doing a top-notch job at the minute getting these figures out to us. I've had a big run on the G.I. Joe Classified, and now I've got my Jean Grey. So, if you're new around these parts, my review structure is very, very simple. I call it the 3 A's. I'm going to start by talking about the aesthetic of the figure. How does Jean Grey look? Then I'm going to move into the articulation, the second A. How does she feel? How does she move? And then I'm going to finish up with the third A, which is accessories. Let's talk about the added value elements. What are the extra goodies that Hasbro have given us to enjoy with our figure? So let's not dilly-dally around. Let's get straight into it, and let's talk about how Jean Grey looks. So, of course, one of the key things with a figure of this nature, in terms of the way that she looks, is that it's a specific line. It's the X-Men Animated Series Wave, and it's designed for nostalgia heads like me who want the figure to set off my warm, gooey nostalgia feels, recollecting those times when I used to watch the cartoon as a kid. And she certainly does that. She definitely evokes, to my mind's eye at least, what Jean Grey looked like in the animated series. I've not done a side-by-side comparison or checked it against a screenshot or anything. I'm sure there probably are some inaccuracies, but the orange colour of the uniform seems to be in line with what I recollect her orangey uniform to be like, where the blue elements are all sort of add up in my head to how I recall her looking. The big flash of very, very red hair is all, again, to my recollection, accurate. So it's certainly setting off those nostalgia vibes in me that I'm looking for from this figure. Bringing her in a bit closer to have a look at the face sculpt. It's definitely one of those sort of highs and lows situation. The paint apps on the lips look great. The paint apps around the eyes and the eyebrows look great. But then her mask, as it goes around her face, is a bit untidy. I don't know if you can see it across the top here, just under that flick of hair and down the side here. So we've got little bits of skin paint on the mask and a little bit of blue paint on the skin tones. So they're just a little bit slapdash, a little bit messy around the edges, which is a little bit disappointing. I have to confess that one of the things lately with Marvel Legends that has been tainting my experience is that I've been collecting the G.I. Joe Classified series very heavily, and they do incredible face sculpts. However, that said, I'm perhaps being a little bit overcritical of Jean Grey because she is an animated series line, and so she's sort of painted in the skin tone that looks more cartoony, and, you know, got to give credit where credit's due. There is like a little bit of a smile thing going on here. She had a little bit of a glint in the eye, almost a bit cheeky, actually, in a way, which is better than I have seen with some other Marvel Legends stuff lately. So I've got to give credit where credit's due. The detail in the hair is really good. You can see there, good hair sculpt, and that goes all the way down the ponytail across the back there. Although, again, talking about being a bit slapdash, a bit messy, you can see that little bit of paint smudge here. Not good, not cool, Hasbro. Little bit of blue paint here on the top of the ponytail. However, the sculpt is good. Again, it's the animated series line, so they've gone for just a very solid colour, very solid flash of red hair. It might have benefited from a bit of a wash or a bit of something else going on there. I'm not entirely sure what. Maybe a darker red in between the kind of hair detail, but they've not done because they're trying to keep it accurate to the cartoon. But yeah, I don't know. Again, mixed feelings, highs and lows with that. Yeah, the rest of the body's looking okay as well. You know, the oranges and the blues work. The fact that we've got two different blues in there as well, the dark blue and the light blue, is helping the kind of visual aesthetic of the figure. The blue of the gauntlets and the belt kind of matches up nicely with the blue in the main body of the figure. One thing I can't tell with the darker blue is whether it's supposed to be cell shading or whether it's part of a uniform. Like, if you look underneath her boobs and then sort of these lines across her abs here, they look like they may be cell shaded. But then if you look at on the side of her arm here, there's the light blue rectangle border with the dark blue in the middle, and then the mask is obviously dark blue, and then it's dark blue all the way down the back. So it's like they couldn't really make their mind up whether that's cell shading or whether that's actually part of the colour scheme of the uniform, but there you go nonetheless. The red X-Men badge on the front of the belt, and the belt's not too annoying here either. Sometimes these loose fit belts annoy me, but it's not bothering me so much on Jean Grey. The blue of the gauntlets isn't too far distant from the blue in the main uniform. Just again, the paint applications are a little bit slapdash, a bit untidy. Like if I turn around here, you see the little bits of orange on the shoulder pads where it should be blue, and then the line down the main body is a bit wibbly wobbly down here. Can you see there? It just doesn't line up very well. So yeah, the paint applications are a bit slapdash. The hand here is another example. Can you see there where the glove and the skin tone are sort of smudged? And there, another example on the palm of the hand. So the paint applications are just very, very shonky. Just circling back round to the cell shading, I know this is a bit of an issue with some of the Marvel Legends collectors. Strikes me it's kind of one of those things that you either hate it or you're all right with it. I don't think I've ever seen anyone actually full on say, I love the cell shading. But it's much more subtle in the legs here, look. Just a little bit of darker cell shading on the thighs. As I've mentioned, I can't really even tell whether it's cell shading or intentional uniform colours in the main body of the blue sections, so that all works fine. And I can't even really see any other cell shading than that. So much more subtle, and it also seems like the light source is coming from the same direction rather than sort of random cell shading all over the figure, as some have observed with others. So yeah, there you go. That's the look of Jean Grey. So yeah, in terms of the aesthetic, it's a bit of a mixed bag review, to be honest. I mean, she certainly, she looks great in amongst my other X-Men animated series figures. I'll show you a comparison in a short while with a couple of the others so you can kind of see how they tie together. But she does look great in that respect. I am happier that the expression has got a little bit of something going on in the face, and I'm less bothered by the fact that it's the more kind of cartoony skin tones and stuff, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm just a bit disappointed that it just seems very slapdash, very wibbly-wobbly, rough around the edges in terms of the paint application. A couple wouldn't bother me normally, but as I notice more and more and more, as I have the figure in hand more and more and more, they start to accrue to become more than just a little niggle to a situation. Do you know what I mean? And, full disclosure, I may have already mentioned it on an earlier part of this recording, I've forgotten what I've recorded already, but I have just had a run of really great G.I. Joe Classified series figures. And when I think that G.I. Joe Classified and the X-Men Animated Series Marvel Legends are coming from the same company, and then I look at how the attention to detail in the aesthetic on the G.I. Joe Classified compared to this, I'm just a bit like, it's kind of a bit bland, you know? A bit boring. But I don't know what I'd want instead, I'm not sure. So it's not a full thumbs up, it's not a full thumbs down, I'm just kind of going for a little bit of a wobbly thumb in the middle, a bit like that. I like some bits, but then I'm a bit unhappy with the fact that the painting looks a bit pants, and yeah, like that. So there you go. Now maybe, just maybe, she's redeemed by the articulation. So let's now have a look at how Jean Grey moves. So starting with the head, we've got the ball joint at the top there and the standard kind of hinge at the bottom of the ball joint, which means we can have Jean Grey look down, we can have Jean Grey look up. She's got good swivel all the way round, bit of tilt, and the ponytail certainly doesn't get in the way too much. There's a good range of motion in there. So that's pretty decent as far as the head stuff goes. Then moving down into the arms, we've got the shoulders come up to a T like so, and then there's the swivel joint forward and back. The shoulder pads do obviously get in the way a bit. If you want to go any higher than that, you're not, basically. That's the end of the story there. No butterfly joint. It's an old body sculpt, which means there's not a great deal of motion in the shoulders. Then onto the elbows. These are very disappointing. It's just a single elbow joint, so you just get that right angle and that straight there. Not much else going on. This is another part of the experience that Hasbro are wildly tainting for me when it comes to Marvel Legends, because I know that we've had the Maria Hill and the Shriek with the double elbow joints, and I've also seen the great double elbow joint stuff going on with figures like Lady J in the G.I. Joe Classified series, but because they're cynically just repainting an old sculpt and churning it out to make more money out of me, at a higher price, might I add, that aspect there is hugely disappointing, because with your Jean Grey, you want to be able to, do the kind of hand on the head, I'm using my psychic powers thing, and you just can't. It's just not possible to do. So it looks a bit shit, basically, to be frank and blunt about it. So yeah, just a single elbow there in the arms, and also a little bit of a whinge about the fact that it's the old body sculpt there. And then into the wrists, we've got swivel in the wrist and a hinge back and forward, and that's on both hands. Main torso, we've got this joint here just at the bottom of the chest, which gives a bit of swivel to the left and right, and a little bit of ab crunch back and forward. No waist swivel at all, so all your swiveling is done with the upper torso. Then the legs, we've got all right out. Not a great deal of out there. I'm not sure what the resistance point is, but not a lot of out there. Decent forward, okay back or arse curve gets in the way there. We've got thigh swivel at the top of the thigh, double knee like so, and then the feet have got the forward and back hinge and a little bit of side to side rocker, which ultimately means that Jean Grey is not redeemed by her articulation. Our second A is a thumbs down, to be frank. I know lots of people have talked about this all around and about in forums and on Reddit and other far more important video reviewers than me that have discussed it. But the simple fact of the matter is that as a collector who knows and has seen the much improved female figure that has been on the Shriek and on the Maria Hill and that's on other lines like the G.I. Joe Classified, to have this cynical repaint churned out with the much more limited articulation at a higher price point for what? For the pleasure of having it in the admittedly really cool VHS box is just starting to get a little bit too much for this average Joe collector, and I think I'm not alone in feeling that way. This was an opportunity to do a beautiful, lovely, upgraded Jean Grey, and they didn't take it because they're just milking me like the cash cow that I am. And this, over the last couple of days, this figure here has been the one that has just planted that little seed of doubt as to whether I want to continue. The aesthetic and the kind of rough around the edges paint apps is one thing, but the slow momentum towards improving the articulation and just churning out a repaint old body as if I'm just going to be happy with it might be the straw that has broken the camel's back. So yeah, the articulation is largely disappointing, and I have found that trying to pose her up the last couple of days and make some interesting scenes with Storm and Jubilee and Wolverine that I've already picked up, she just ain't got it. And again, I'll just reiterate, I'll say this for full disclosure and to be absolutely clear. It may well be that I am judging too harshly and that my view has been tainted by the fact that I've had a great run of G.I. Joe Classified series pre-orders come, which are really over and above what I'm seeing here. So perhaps I'm not assessing it in a comparable standard. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. But to round this off, let's now move into the accessories. So the first bit of extra kit that you get with Jean Grey is the two fist hands here. So I've switched them out there and taken the open palm hands out and put the fists in so you can see what they look like on the figure. It was a bit tricky actually getting the hands out and putting these new ones back in because of this little overhanging section of the gauntlet there. But I am not very keen on these, if I'm being honest. Look, they look small. They look disproportionate to the rest of the figure, and the way they sort of sit in this section of the gauntlet here, they look tiny. They don't look right, do they? Is it me? Does Jean Grey just have like really little hands, or I don't know, they just don't look right, which is a shame because they're actually really quite well sculpted, but the size, they're too small. They look oddly diminutive compared to the rest of the proportions of the figure. So I think I'm probably going to be sticking with the open palms, I suspect, long term. But there you go, there's the fists on the figure. The third and final accessory is this second head here. I actually quite like this one quite a bit. I love the gone big with the hair, you know, and the big wavy kind of red-headed locks there. Is a good sculpt on the hair, really interesting. Again, would have benefited from perhaps from a bit of a wash, but I get what they're doing here because they're going for the single body of colour that's in line with the animated series. The facial expression as well is much more serious, much more pensive, like she's in the midst of thinking something through in the middle of combat, whereas the other head sculpt has got a bit more of a kind of cheeky smirk. I'd kind of like the cheeky smirk look on this one here, but there you go. But the paint apps, again, are great around the lips and the eyes and the eyebrows. But once again, I don't know if you can see, a bit rough around the edges. Got a little splodge of blue there on the forehead. You know, what are you going to do, eh? But yeah, I like this second head quite a lot, actually, the big hair. What it does do, of course, though, actually, just as a little side note, is it, of course, restricts your side-to-side motion in the articulation there because the hair, the way it comes down the back. But yeah, I like the second head sculpt. In fact, I like it so much that this is the head that's been on the figure since it arrived in the post the other day, and I've had her on the shelf. So yeah, there you go. And that's all the accessories for you. And here we go, just for a bit of a comparison. Here is the Jean Grey with the animated series Storm that I recently received, so you can get a sense of kind of how they fit together on the shelf. You can certainly see what I was talking about in terms of the cell shading being a little bit more subtle on Jean Grey comparably, but they're roughly about the same height, very similar build. Upon reflection, actually, I think I reviewed my Storm figure a little bit more favourably than I've just reviewed Jean Grey, even though many of the points of criticism are the same, which, as I'm getting further through recording this review, is making me think that, yeah, maybe I am having my view of this tainted a little bit by the fact that I've been really into my G.I. Joe Classified lately. But in any case, that's how they look together next to each other. And here she is next to the Marvel Legends X-Men Animated Series Wolverine figure. So you can kind of see the height difference there. That's very accurate. Wolverine is known to be, a bit runtier, a bit stuntier, but comparable. And Jean Grey's much taller in the cartoon. You can see that there. Obviously, I have them in more interesting poses on the shelf, but just for the sake of the comparison, there they are. Again, you can also see how the cell shading on Jean Grey seems to be a bit more subtle than it is on the Wolverine figure, although I do really like this Wolverine. And finally, here is Jean Grey with a non-animated series Marvel Legends Rogue, although I think that Rogue kind of sort of works okay with the animated series line. It's actually more in the skin tone than it is the cell shading that you kind of see the difference. But they can see the two of them competing for the biggest hair. Throw Storm in the mix, and then you got a right contest for early 90s bouffant awards going on there. But yeah, I don't think that Rogue looks too bad next to the Jean Grey. It's mostly in the skin tone, actually, more than it is in the cell shading that I think the difference lies. But again, actually, upon reflection, I was much more favourable in my review of Rogue than I have just been with Jean Grey. So maybe I am just reaching a kind of, an nadir point. Yeah, I don't know, folks. I've just been a bit lukewarm overall with Jean Grey. I don't know if it's just the increased price or the fact that it's reuse of an old sculpt. Having my Rogue and my Storm out for the comparison shots I was just taking did make me think, I was a lot more kind of favourable in my reviews of those guys as I am with Jean Grey. And the points of criticism are much the same. I mean, the paint apps on my Rogue were really dodgy as well. But I think it's just accumulating now. It's starting to build up. The increased price, the QC quality of Marvel Legends specifically, because I'll reiterate, I collect other Hasbro lines that don't appear to have these issues. The fact that it's a repaint of an old body that's now not comparing particularly favourably as more of the newer female body sculpts come out. The limited accessory selection compared to other lines. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a bad mood today. Maybe I'm just starting to reach, a bit of a point with it all now. But I really love X-Men Animated Series. I'll tell you what else is added to it as well, is the fact that the retro card back Apocalypse has just been announced, and he's retro, not animated series. And they've just announced retro card back Beast. There's a card back version and not a animated series version. And it's all a bit messy, and I don't know. But on the shelf, after all said and done, she actually looks pretty good with Wolverine and Storm and Rogue and Jubilee. I didn't do a comparison with Jubilee, but you get the idea. And I'm not even using an animated series Rogue. And it all kind of works, and it's a nice display. So I think if you're just looking for a display piece, and you can kind of just get that one pose that works for you, and you drop her in it, then you're fine. But if you're looking for anything more than that, if you want to take some interesting photos, or you want to get a bit more ambitious with a display, with a diorama, then this is probably not the figure for you. But I just don't know how much more mileage Hasbro can get out of my nostalgia anymore. I'm on the verge of cancelling Morph. I don't know. Let me know, folks, in the comments down below. I'd be really interested to hear what your thoughts are. I'm just like some small fry average Joe collector here, who's perhaps reached a bit of a grumpy point with it. I don't know. Well, that was a bit of a flat ending, wasn't it? I've been Chris, otherwise known online as the True Mr. Six. This is MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. If you like hearing me moan, then give me a like. I don't know how to finish this one off. Yeah, lukewarm. There we go.